It was with slight hesitation, but here goes. Have you ever found yourself in front of a pantry full of food and asked why there is nothing to eat? Been annoyed when the metro bus is a couple minutes late? Found yourself complaining about the umpire's call when watching your favourite team lose on TV? Or complaining about how hard life is? These are all things we all do, however do not benefit anyone. West Coast Eagles antic and headmaster Dr McEwen, Kookaburra supporter Mr Davis, splendid staff and fellow students, thank you for listening over the next few minutes. Firstly, for those who may have known, and as you just heard, James Fielding was meant to be speaking today, however much to mine and your disappointment, we'll have to wait a couple of weeks to hear his wonderful inspirational words and listen to me in the meantime. For those of you who listened in an assembly mid-last year, you would remember that Andrew Gregg made a speech on gratefulness. However, unfortunately, he read through at a pace that even if I replayed it at half speed on YouTube, it was still quicker than I could understand. So I'd like to expand on his words of wisdom. All too often we can get carried away in how easy life is and how fortunate we are to live in Australia. We often forget how lucky we are and complain about minor things like, why do I have to get a flat tyre, while there are billions of other people in the world who don't even own a car. Or when we think that we can barely survive 2 hours annually without power because a tree fell over the power lines, when millions of people couldn't even dream about having electricity. Things that seem so little, like being able to turn on the TV and watch the Australian hockey team, the Kookaburras, or the West Coast Eagles play to take your mind off things that seem too difficult at the time, are things that we have the luxury to do. However, sometimes we shouldn't take these easy alternatives that humans are naturally inclined to take, but think about the many others in the world who have life far less easy and cannot take their mind off the fact that people are trying to kill them every second of the day, like in Ukraine, Ethiopia, Afghanistan, and many more areas of the world. It is often only when we no longer have something or someone that we reflect and realise how fortunate we were to have the person or time in our lives, and we always wish we had cherished it more when we did. So don't waste your time complaining and having negative experiences, but embrace everything as it is and make those experiences positive, leaving you with no feeling of regret. Having the time to reflect on how fortunate we are and be grateful for the people and things we have makes those believed to be dire situations manageable. I could read out numerous studies from such and such professors that support the effect of being grateful. However, you are far better experiencing it for yourself. Positivity and happiness is very similar to COVID. If people around you have it, it's likely you will also get it. If there are 100 people in a room and one person has COVID, as that person moves around, they'll spread it to one person who will then give it to the next. And suddenly 15 have it, then 29, then 53 people are spreading it. It doesn't occur this quick, but you can understand the concept. Happiness is very similar. The longer you're exposed to happiness or COVID, the greater chance you of being infected. The last comparison between the two is that it's less effectively spread over digitally and significantly easier spread in person. A Harvard University study, which can be seen as a reliable reference source, as it is one of the most prestigious and trusted sources in the world, for your interest, Dr. James, showed happiness is contagious, however, is most impactful when received from a person less well known. For example, if a person who I didn't know gave me a compliment, it would be far more meaningful to me if someone I knew well did. In day-to-day life, it is as simple as just smiling when walking by someone, instead of putting your head down and avoiding eye contact as much as possible. Or greeting someone you partially know by name. If you're not confident you know their name, don't be worried, just give it a shot. The worst that can happen is that they tell you you got it wrong, or they'll give you a strange look and continue on. Multiple times I've got people's names wrong, at least 3 of the first 4 times I've met them. If this happens, you feel so bad, you never forget their name again and your friendship quickly grows. More often than not, we'll remember the good experiences far more vividly than the bad ones. For example, you don't remember clearly that one person that let you pull out into the traffic when driving to school. However, you will remember that driver that cut in front of you and almost caused you to crash. It was a silver Holden Commodore with Reg OB 36HB, and the driver was short-haired and was wearing a grey jumper for your interest. Don't be that person that cuts people off, as they'll remember you for a long time for the wrong reasons. Having a positive mindset is also fundamental to achieving goals. You can either see everything preventing you from achieving your goal, or you can see the goal and work through the obstacles along the way. Ultimately, someone who only sees the difficulties will never achieve their goal, as they are too fearful to begin. If you're too afraid to fire an arrow in archery, you will never hit the target. So is true in life. Both things spoken about today will inversely affect each other, i.e. if someone is happier, they'll be more grateful, and vice versa, and this will ultimately make life far more enjoyable. This is closely related to this year's theme of inclusion and the five school values. Be it in co-curricular, academics, or general life, if you have a positive approach, you will never think of any reason to exclude anyone, as you can only see the individual's strengths that they will add to the table and benefit everyone. If you're frustrated because your bus, parent, or friend is late, hold back from saying, "Why were you so late?" and start with, "Thanks for giving me a lift, I really appreciate it." Hold back from pointing out someone's mistakes that they know they have already made. Every bus driver, parent, friend, or person knows if they're late or have made a mistake, and adding the negative comment will never help the cause. Next time you find yourself in front of your pantry, look and think about all the things that are in there instead of the things that are not. Satisfaction in this life is achieved by winning games, achieving your goals, or helping others. In tennis, you will never win a Grand Slam if you rage as much as Nick Kyrgios. Life's too short to waste your time complaining about the little things, so embrace what you have and you'll live a fulfilled life. Enjoy your afternoon. Thank you.